Hello, Ivan Old School Automotive. This is a B46 BMW engine. B46, B48. Here's the problem that I ran into with this motor. Well, original thinking was to replace the crank, and then I end up fixing it somehow. But the big problem here, all these bolts are stretch bolts. Supposed to replace them, you can buy them, but the problem that you're gonna run into, there is no specifications for the torque on these bolts. Nope, you cannot find anything. And this the red bolts, you can find the same ARP bolts specifications for that. These ones, nothing. There is on a YouTube or Google will give you a Chinese video where they have a specs in Chinese, and yeah, you can read the specifications. It says 20 Newton meters, 520, then 70 degrees and 70 again on the rod bolts. These bolts, the main bolts, 25, 65 degrees and 65. Now I bought the bolts, the rod bolts, from FCP Euro, and what I found on the forum, on the reviews of the bolts, some guys were complaining about rod bolts, saying that they are breaking when you do the 70 degrees twice. And one guy was saying you cannot do 70 degrees twice, you have to do it once. So that's one. Another thing, as far as the main bolts, I watched one guy building this engine. There is one video, it's a Russian video, and he did 65 twice, and guess what, the crank doesn't turn. That got me suspicious to the point where something is not right about these torque specifications, or something else. Okay, the rod bolts, since I removed them in the car to turn the engine over, I have no idea of the position. But the main bolts, what I did with the main bolts, I marked them all, I loosened them, I lubricated them, and then I measured the torque on which torque they gonna line up in the same position. 60 pounds on all bolts, exactly 60 pounds that will line up back where it was. As far as the rod bolts, I went with the pretty much with what the guy is saying from forums: 5 Newton meters, 20 Newton meters and 70 degrees. But some bolts don't like to go that far. Here's another thing that I did. I did some calculations. You getting how much of a stretch you are gonna be getting on one turn. 70 degrees. This is converted to metric from the inches. This is the inches specs for the stretch bolts for APR bolts. This is a conversion to metric. This is what I'm getting. 70 degrees, 24, 50, So according to my calculations, I should be right on the money on 55 degrees. In reality, I even made a stretch gauge, which is not the best one, but whatever. And according to my stretch gauge, actually the brand new bolts, when you go 5 Newton meters, 20 Newton meters on the rod bolts, then you go 70 degrees, it's gonna be right somewhere. It's either gonna be right where they're supposed to be, or gonna be slightly stretched a little bit more. But I don't know if this is same as if this is the same bolt as the APR bolt, or what kind of a bolt this is. I cannot find any information. Maybe maybe I did under torque it, but whatever. So basically I did the 70 degrees one time. I don't know if it's correct or not. As far as the main bolts, I've tried to mess with them. As far as doing, I got the nut, I had a metal spot where I can torque it. As far as the measurements, basically if you do 70 degrees once, it's getting stretched. If you do it twice, like the Chinese manual says, the bolt loses a resistance. So after that you can turn it just for the heck of it. I've tried to see what's gonna happen if I turn it more. That's what happens. So obviously that's why I do have all new main bolts, but I'm afraid to replace them because I don't have the specifications for that. And I decided, since this is a kind of a iffy repair from the beginning, I am just gonna keep those bolts at 60 pounds. You know, I don't even know if this engine is gonna last or not gonna last. As far as the rod bolts, I did went with this 5 Newton meters, 20 Newton meters, and 70. In case if you are doing this engine, what I would suggest to do, I did research it. This is a stud kit for the main, and it will fit into this engine. They are using the same bolts. That stud kit, torque specifications on that 60 foot-pounds for the main, and it's gonna actually be better for this engine anyway, because it's such a crappy design to begin with. So if you are replacing the crank, get a stud kit. And I don't know if you wanna go with BMW rod bolts or just get the ARP kit for this engine and just go by their specifications. Because as far as the BMW information on this motor, you can replace a head gasket that gives you the torque specifications on everything that's related to replace the head. And that's it. The block, according to BMW, is a disposable item and it cannot be serviced. I even called the BMW. No, they are refusing to give out any information on this motor. Something happens with this motor, take it to a scrapyard. So if you are trying to fix it, you need to get a ARP start kit for the mains, and there is a ARP kit. Yeah, I think that's the kit. Yeah, there are kits for these motors. I mean, for these motors to get somewhere. Other than that, the only thing you can do is same thing like I did. Mark each bolt, mark the position of the bolt, take it out, lubricate it, put it back, and measure the torque when the bolt goes in the same position. But you know, you're not supposed to be reusing those bolts. So that's the complications of getting into this motor. Well, I guess don't trust the Chinese manuals, because everywhere you're gonna research anything, any torque specifications for this motor, it's gonna be different information, and I think it's gonna be wrong information. I spent 2 months trying to just tighten up crank on this motor, searching, and at the end I end up making a stretch gauge and just, you know, going like that. As far as the rod bolts, when you do the degree torque on it, right after 60 degrees you can feel the bolt kind of tends to stop, and that's actually I stopped some of them around 60. Basically anywhere from 55 to 70, that's where it's gonna reach the stretch. But that's the stretch according to the ARP bolts. What kind of bolts these are, I cannot tell you. BMW doesn't tell anyone, and they don't give out any information, period. So that's pretty much, they sell the parts for this motor, but you can't put them on. I don't know if BMW can put them on. Their book says this engine block is not repairable, you have to get a new one. So I don't know, well, maybe that's gonna help somebody. Alright, thank you.